At precisely 10:05 p.m., police received a call. A man had stumbled into a nearby gas station, disheveled, bloodied, and wide-eyed. A survivor of a horrific mass shooting that had unfolded just minutes earlier at a local bar. But what the authorities didn't know was this survivor was about to change everything. It was a late autumn evening in a quiet suburb of Dayton, Ohio. The kind of neighborhood where kids still played tag until dusk and neighbors borrowed sugar over white picket fences. But on this particular night, something shattered that peace. Something so chilling it would haunt the town for years. For months, the city grieved. Families mourned. News crews swarmed. And yet, amidst the chaos, one figure quietly began piecing together clues that no one else was looking for. A survivor, yes, but now, a self-appointed detective driven by questions no one dared ask. You don't usually expect a man who's escaped death in a hail of bullets to walk back into that nightmare, let alone hunt for answers beyond the official story. But this is no ordinary case. And this is no ordinary man. Meet Jack Harper, name changed for privacy. A 29-year-old bartender at the Neon Lantern, the scene of the shooting. The night had started like any other. Laughter, music, spilled drinks, until a stranger entered, carrying more than just a backpack. What followed was horror. A sudden eruption of gunfire, screams echoing through the room, bodies falling. Jack remembers the sharp crack of the first shots, the rush to the exit, the chaos that swallowed his world whole. He survived, but scars, both seen and unseen, lingered. In the aftermath, the official narrative was swift and neat. The shooter was a troubled loner with a history of mental illness, acting alone. Motive, unclear. A senseless act of violence. Case closed, but Jack couldn't shake a gnawing doubt. Something about the timeline didn't fit. The shooter's behavior was too calculated. The weapons used were unusually sophisticated for a lone amateur. And witnesses who had initially spoken openly suddenly clammed up. Driven by restless nights and haunting memories, Jack began his own investigation. He started by revisiting the crime scene not as a victim, but as a seeker of truth. His first breakthrough came unexpectedly. A local journalist had posted on social media about a mysterious shipment of firearms entering the city days before the shooting, but the story was quickly deleted. When Jack reached out, the journalist refused to talk. Next, Jack discovered inconsistencies in police reports. Some surveillance footage was lost due to a technical malfunction. Several eyewitness statements contradicted each other, especially about the shooter's arrival and actions during the massacre. As Jack dug deeper, he uncovered whispers of a clandestine arms ring operating under the radar, supplying illegal, untraceable weapons to unknown buyers. But who were these buyers? And was the shooting a random act or something far more sinister? Meanwhile, the town's mood shifted. Fear mingled with suspicion. Neighbors eyed each other warily. Rumors flourished like wildfire. Some suggested the shooter was a pawn, manipulated by darker forces pulling strings from the shadows. Others claimed the police were hiding something, perhaps even involved in a cover-up. Jack's inquiries led him to one unlikely source, an elderly woman named Martha, who ran a small bookstore near the bar. She'd noticed odd deliveries late at night, men in suits speaking in hushed tones. She recalled seeing the shooter days before, meeting with someone in a secluded alley. Martha's timid but firm account added another layer of mystery. Who was this person? And what connection did they have with the massacre? Just as Jack felt he was closing in on the truth, a sudden threat shattered his resolve. An anonymous note slipped under his door read, "Stop digging, or next time it won't be just a note." Fear gripped him, but so did determination. Giving up was not an option. Jack reached out to a retired detective, Carl Myers, a man known for his relentless pursuit of justice and disdain for bureaucratic stonewalling. Together, they began to map out a network. The shooter, the arms dealers, corrupt officials, and unknown conspirators. Each thread led to another dead end, another secret guarded fiercely. One night, Jack found himself outside a nondescript warehouse on the outskirts of town. Shadows moved inside. Muffled voices debated plans that could destabilize entire communities. Using a stolen phone, Jack recorded snippets of conversations mentioning Operation Clean Slate and collateral advantage. What could Operation Clean Slate mean? Was the shooting a part of a larger plot? And what was collateral advantage? A phrase so clinical it sent chills down Jack's spine. Suddenly, headlights swept across the parking lot. Jack hid, heart pounding. A black SUV pulled up, and out stepped a familiar figure. The bar owner, Paul. But Paul was no innocent businessman. Jack remembered the night of the shooting. Paul had vanished just as chaos erupted. Now, here he was, speaking with the warehouse men, exchanging documents sealed with the city's emblem. Was Paul involved? Was he a victim or a villain? Jack's mind raced. The friendly face he'd trusted masked a darker reality. But before he could act, footsteps approached. Jack slipped away into the night, heart heavy with more questions than answers. The next day, the local police arrested Paul, but the charges were unrelated to the shooting. Officially, it was for tax evasion and minor corruption. The connection to the massacre was never mentioned. Jack's discovery ignited a firestorm. Was the shooting just the tip of the iceberg? A distraction while deeper crimes flourished? And why had so many layers of truth been buried? Months passed. Jack's life was unraveling. Paranoia gnawed at him. Friends distanced themselves. His mental state frayed. Yet he pressed on. Then came the break nobody saw coming. A former insider from the arms ring contacted Jack. A young woman codenamed Echo. She claimed to have evidence linking high-ranking officials to the illegal weapons pipeline and the massacre. She sent encrypted files, blueprints, emails, video footage. The data painted a terrifying picture. The shooting was orchestrated to justify new security laws and funnel money into private military contracts. Jack and Carl pored over the evidence, stunned by the scale of the deception. But as they prepared to go public, Echo vanished without a trace. The files were wiped from her devices. The trail went cold. Jack was left alone again, but more certain than ever that the nightmare was far from over. In the silence that followed, a new message appeared on Jack's phone. You're getting closer, but beware. Some truths are deadlier than bullets. The night air was thick with tension as Jack Harper sat alone in his dimly lit apartment, eyes glued to his laptop screen. The encrypted files from Echo flickered before him, blueprints of clandestine arms shipments, cryptic emails exchanged between shadowy officials, and grainy video footage from hidden cameras. Each piece deepened the web of deceit, pulling Jack into a vortex where truth and betrayal blurred. It wasn't just a mass shooting anymore. It was a carefully orchestrated spectacle. A chess move designed to manipulate public fear, expand authoritarian power, and enrich those who thrived in chaos. But who were the masterminds behind this operation? Jack's fingers trembled as he scrolled through intercepted messages. The names were masked, replaced by code words: Falcon, Oracle, Kingpin. One line stood out: Project Clean Slate progressing. Next phase imminent. Jack's blood ran cold. He realized the shooting was only phase 1. Phase 2, still unseen, threatened to plunge the city into deeper darkness. Determined to unmask the players, Jack enlisted Carl Meyer's help once more. The retired detective brought experience, contacts, and a steely resolve that balanced Jack's youthful urgency. Together, they traced financial transactions funneling through shell companies, money laundering schemes masking payments to a network of mercenaries. The deeper they dug, the more disturbing the picture became. An alliance between corrupt law enforcement, politicians hungry for control, and a private security firm with a global reach. One night, as Jack and Carl met in a rundown diner to exchange intel, Carl pulled out an old photograph. It showed a smiling group of men in suits, gathered at a lavish fundraiser months before the shooting. Jack recognized one immediately, the mayor of Dayton. Kingpin, Carl whispered. The mayor's charismatic public persona masked a ruthless ambition, and his fingerprints were all over Project Clean Slate. Jack's next move was risky but necessary. He reached out to an investigative journalist known for exposing political corruption, Lena Morales. Lena had been following leads on illegal arms trafficking for years, but her reports had been repeatedly suppressed. When Jack shared Echo's files, Lena's eyes widened. "This could bring down half the city's power structure," she said. They agreed to work together, a fragile alliance bound by shared purpose and mutual distrust. Their first breakthrough came when Lena discovered an insider at the private security firm willing to talk. The whistleblower, codenamed Whisper, revealed a chilling plan. The shooting was intended to justify a militarized police expansion and the implementation of surveillance programs that eroded civil liberties. "We're trading freedom for safety," Whisper said over an encrypted call. "But the real goal is control." Suddenly, the city wasn't just a victim of violence. It was a battleground for power. But as Jack and Lena prepared to release their findings, a brutal attack changed everything. Jack's apartment was broken into. His laptop was stolen. Files vanished. More than that, someone had left a message scrawled on his wall in dark red letters. "Silence is safety." Fear clawed at Jack's mind, but retreat was impossible. With Lena's help, Jack regrouped, piecing together fragments of their lost data from backups and encrypted clouds. Their investigation unearthed something even more sinister: a secret meeting plan between Falcon, the mayor, and a high-ranking federal official known only as the Architect. The purpose? To finalize Phase 2, a coordinated operation involving coordinated mass detentions disguised as emergency security measures. Jack knew he had to stop them. On the day of the meeting, Jack and Lena surveilled a secluded government building under heavy guard. Through a cracked window, they glimpsed the powerful figures in heated discussion, faces familiar from the leaked photographs. Suddenly, the meeting was interrupted by armed agents storming the building. Jack and Lena were forced to flee under heavy fire. In the chaos, Lena was separated and vanished. Jack escaped, heart pounding, the weight of failure crushing him. In the days that followed, Jack received an anonymous tip. Lena had been taken, silenced to protect the conspiracy. Now Jack was alone again, but more resolved than ever. He contacted Martha, the bookstore owner, hoping she held the missing pieces. What Martha revealed next was a revelation so shocking it threatened to upend everything. The shooter, the man everyone assumed was the lone agent of chaos, had been a government informant all along, planted to catalyze fear and justify the crackdown. But there was more. The real mastermind was someone closer than Jack had ever imagined. Someone hiding in plain sight whose public image was untouchable. Someone who had guided Jack from the shadows, manipulating his every move. Jack's phone buzzed. A new message appeared. "You're too close now. Walk away or be consumed." And then the line went dead. The city of Dayton was holding its breath. Months had passed since the massacre, since Jack Harper's world had been shattered by bullets, betrayal, and silence. Now, with the weight of mounting evidence and betrayal tightening like a noose, the truth was finally within reach. Jack sat alone in a dim basement room beneath an abandoned warehouse, a safe house arranged by a trusted ally deep within law enforcement. Maps, photographs, and encrypted messages littered the walls. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to hope. After Lena's disappearance, Jack had been driven to the edge of despair. But an anonymous tip led him to a name that had escaped notice until now. Evelyn Cross. She was the city's beloved social activist, a face on every billboard calling for peace, a tireless advocate for victims of violence. Everyone trusted Evelyn. Everyone except Jack. From the shadows, a dark pattern emerged. Evelyn's charity funneled money into shell accounts linked to the arms dealers Jack and Carl had exposed. Her speeches about community healing echoed with carefully coded language, messages understood only by those who orchestrated the massacre. But the final piece came from an unexpected source. Martha, the quiet bookstore owner. She recalled seeing Evelyn meet secretly with the shooter days before the attack, exchanging a small package. Confronted with this, Jack realized the chilling truth. Evelyn had masterminded the massacre, a cruel act meant to escalate fear and cement her political power. The evidence was overwhelming. Financial records, witness accounts, surveillance footage uncovered from a hidden camera in a public park. Jack, Carl, and a specialized task force moved swiftly. Under the cover of night, police raided Evelyn's downtown apartment. Inside, they found detailed plans of Operation Clean Slate, documents outlining future attacks, lists of targeted individuals, and orders to silence dissent. Evelyn was arrested without resistance. Her calm smile hid the venom beneath. During interrogation, Evelyn confessed, not with remorse, but with icy conviction. The city was broken, she said. Sometimes, to rebuild, you must burn it down first. Her words sent shockwaves through Dayton. The city's darling activist was the architect of terror. The shooter, a pawn, had been manipulated, armed, and sent into a nightmare. Jack's journey from survivor to detective had shattered illusions, revealing how power can corrupt even the most trusted faces. But as Evelyn was led away in handcuffs, Jack felt no triumph. Instead, a deep, aching sadness. For every victim, every family shattered, every trust broken, and for the darkness still lurking in the hearts of men and the shadows of the city. Days later, Jack stood at the neon lantern, now shuttered and silent. He laid flowers where friends had fallen. His phone buzzed. A new message. This is not over. They're watching. Be careful, Jack. He looked up. The city lights flickered. A shadow moved in the distance. The nightmare was far from over. If the story shook you, stunned you, or made you question everything you thought you knew, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what comes next, because the shadows are still moving and the truth is far from fully revealed. Comment below. What do you think is really driving the darkness behind these events? Who else might be involved? Your theories could help us uncover the next piece of the puzzle. Together, let's shine a light into the shadows.